the music industry has recently undergone a surprising shift. Last week, Normani's debut album, Dopamine, outperformed Kendrick Lamar's GNX, selling 51,000 equivalent album units compared to GNX's 34,000. This news broke shortly after Kendrick wrapped up his successful Grand National Tour with a sold-out performance in Washington, D.C., which seemed to reinforce his status as a leading figure in hip-hop. However, the charts tell a different story. A rising pop R&B artist has eclipsed one of the genre's most respected names. The online community is abuzz with discussions, theories, and opinions. Is Kendrick Lamar, the Pulitzer Prize and Grammy-winning rapper known for his cultural impact, losing his edge? Or is this just a minor hiccup in an otherwise illustrious career? Let's delve into the data, context, and broader implications to uncover the reality. By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip hop and celebrity drama never sleep, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it. Kendrick Lamar's GNX, which was unexpectedly released on November 22, 2024, marked a significant cultural moment from the outset. Named after the 1987 Buick Grand National Experimental, the album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling 319,000 units in its first week, making it the biggest debut for a rap album in 2024. It dominated streaming platforms, racking up 380 million streams in its opening week, and produced 4 top 5 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, including the chart-topping hits Squabble Up and Luther, featuring SZA. Critics hailed it as a homage to West Coast hip-hop, blending sharp lyricism with top-notch production from acclaimed producers like Soundwave, Jack Antonoff, and Mustard. The album's success was further enhanced by Kendrick's headline-grabbing year, which included a decisive victory in his rivalry with Drake, a record-setting Super Bowl 59 halftime show, and 5 Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year for Not Like Us. By the time Kendrick and SZA kicked off the Grand National Tour in April 2025, GNX had already become a key part of his legacy, selling over 1 million units in the US by March 2025. Fast forward to last week, and the landscape has shifted dramatically. Now in its 30th week on the charts, GNX has fallen to 34,000 units sold. While this is still a commendable figure for an album over 6 months old, it represents a notable decline from its initial success. In contrast, Normani's Dopamine, released on June 14, 2024, through RCA Records, has surged to 51,000 units sold, a remarkable feat for an artist facing the challenges of a debut album. Normani, a former member of Fifth Harmony, has spent years generating anticipation for Dopamine, releasing singles like Wild Side and 159 to keep her fanbase engaged. The album presents a seductive blend of R&B, pop, and dance influences, featuring collaborations with Cardi B, Ghana, and James Blake, and produced by Stara and Tommy Brown. Critics have lauded its assertive vocals and unified sound, although some have noted that it leans heavily on contemporary trends instead of offering something new. On the commercial front, Dopamine debuted at number 10 on the Billboard 200, selling 36,000 units. A decent start, though not particularly outstanding. However, its recent increase to 51,000 units suggests that Normani is gaining traction at a pivotal moment. What accounts for this unexpected rebound? For Normani, it's a perfect storm of circumstances. Last week, her single, Candy Paint, climbed into the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100, propelled by a viral TikTok dance challenge and considerable radio airplay. A standout performance at the BET Awards on June 15, 2025, where she performed a medley of songs from Dopamine, resulted in a spike in streaming. Furthermore, the buzz on social media surrounding her upcoming 20-city North American tour set to begin in September has heightened her visibility. Normani's fanbase, previously disheartened by delays and issues with her label, has rallied around Dopamine, reigniting public interest. The album's catchy hooks and danceable beats have also drawn in casual listeners who might not usually gravitate towards Kendrick's more intricate, narrative-focused work. In contrast, Kendrick's GNX is at a different point in its life cycle. After a strong launch, the album has settled into a steady but less urgent presence. Its streaming figures, while still impressive at 103 million on-demand streams last week, have declined from their peak. Physical sales, which surged following the Super Bowl and during the tour's vinyl releases, have also dropped. The Grand National Tour, co-headlined with SZA, was a success, grossing over $120 million and breaking attendance records in cities like Los Angeles and Atlanta. However, the tour's end in DC on June 18, 2025, may have left GNX without the promotional boost that kept it in the limelight. Kendrick's limited social media presence and the lack of new singles since Peekaboo in March could also be factors, as he has shifted his focus to other projects, including a delayed film with South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker, now scheduled for release in March 2026. Does this suggest that Kendrick is becoming less relevant? The question itself feels almost sacrilegious. Kendrick Lamar is a unique artist whose influence extends far beyond album sales. His 2017 album, Damn, was the best-selling album of that year, and his recent release, GNX, has already outperformed most rap albums of 2024 in sales. His cultural influence is undeniable. The track, Not Like Us, became a global anthem, sparking memes, legal battles, and ongoing conversations. The Grand National Tour was more than just a concert series. It celebrated West Coast culture and featured surprise appearances from artists like Roddy Ricch, YG, and Ty Dolla $ign. Kendrick's ability to command stages from Coachella to the Super Bowl is unmatched. At 38, he is not just following trends but setting them, using GNX to elevate lesser-known LA artists like Dodie Six and Peso while offering lyrics that encourage multiple listens. However, the numbers tell a different story, and Normani's recent achievements prompt some questions. The music industry can be unforgiving, where relevance can appear fleeting even for giants like Kendrick. Hip-hop, in particular, often favors younger artists, with streaming algorithms promoting new faces and viral content. At 29, Normani is capitalizing on this momentum, utilizing platforms like TikTok and Instagram to connect with Gen Z audiences. Her image, polished, confident, and boldly feminine, resonates in a pop landscape dominated by artists like SZA and Doja Cat. While Kendrick's GNX has received critical acclaim, it may not be as accessible. Its themes of legacy, pride in Compton, and industry politics require a level of engagement that casual listeners might not be willing to invest in. Tracks like Whacked Out Murals and Gloria are rich in lyrics, rewarding for dedicated fans but less likely to go viral on social media. Another aspect to consider is market saturation. Kendrick's 2024 has been relentless. The feud with Drake, the surprise drop of GNX, the Super Bowl, and the tour have kept him in the spotlight. Fans might simply be taking a break, shifting their attention to newer releases like Dopamine. In contrast, Normani is benefiting from a surge of pent-up demand. After years of anticipation and setbacks, Dopamine feels like a significant moment for her devoted fans. Her underdog narrative, emerging from the shadow of Fifth Harmony and overcoming label obstacles, adds emotional weight to her success. For many, buying or streaming Dopamine is a way to support Normani's comeback, a sentiment that doesn't apply to Kendrick, who has been a leading figure for over a decade. Let's take a wider perspective. While album sales are important, they are just one part of an artist's legacy. Kendrick Lamar's significance isn't determined solely by his chart performance in a single week. His discography, from Section .80 to GNX, demonstrates remarkable storytelling, with each album pushing the boundaries of hip-hop. The acclaim for GNX, including top 5 placements on 2024's Best Album lists from Billboard, Complex, and The Washington Post, underscores its enduring influence. His multiple Grammy wins and Super Bowl performance have introduced him to new audiences, ensuring his music remains popular. In contrast, the long-term impact of Normani's Dopamine is less certain. Although her sales spike is noteworthy, her album hasn't reached the same streaming success or cultural relevance as GNX. A brief period of strong sales doesn't overshadow Kendrick's impressive total of 17.9 million album-equivalent units sold globally as of 2018, a figure that has only grown with GNX's success. This comparison also highlights the different paths these artists are on. Normani is still in the early phases of her career, working to establish herself as a solo artist. Each milestone, such as Dopamine's 51,000 units sold, is a step toward that aim. Conversely, Kendrick is focused on his legacy, prioritizing experiences over chart positions. His work with PG Lang, his independent creative venture, emphasizes artistic freedom rather than commercial gain. GNX's focus on celebrating LA's street culture may limit its mainstream appeal, but it adds to its authenticity. Kendrick's choice to collaborate with up-and-coming artists instead of big names reflects his confidence, showing he doesn't depend on star power to sell records. In contrast, Normani's Dopamine, featuring a roster of well-known guests, aims for broad appeal, a strategy that is currently proving effective. Is Kendrick losing his relevance? The evidence suggests otherwise, but Normani's recent success raises some questions. While Dopamine's 51,000 units sold compared to GNX's 34,000 is impressive, context matters. Factors like Kendrick's tour fatigue, the natural decline of an older album, and Normani's viral ascent all play a role in this scenario. History shows that established artists can be eclipsed by newcomers, like Jay-Z and Lil Wayne in the mid-2000s, but often regain their prominence later. Kendrick's track record indicates he is not fading away. There are rumors of a deluxe edition of GNX, hinted at by collaborator Lefty Gunplay, as well as unreleased projects with J. Cole, keeping fans eager for what's next. For Normani, this accomplishment is important as it shows she can hold her own against top artists. Her success will depend on how well she can capitalize on the momentum from her project, Dopamine, through touring, releasing singles, and maintaining a strong media presence. For Kendrick, this serves as a reminder that even the biggest names encounter competition. His reaction, whether through new music or another impactful statement, will likely silence any doubters. The charts offer only a brief snapshot, not a definitive assessment. Kendrick Lamar's significance isn't determined by a single week's sales, but by the stories he tells, the movements he inspires, and the artists he influences. Normani's rise is a spark, while Kendrick's legacy is a blazing fire. What are your thoughts? Does this change how you view Kendrick's position in the industry? Share your opinions below, and let's continue the conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.